DNS servers, so that if you have come across with any problems running this VPN book, then you will solve it. But if you have made it work, maybe you may want to change your DNS as well, so that you can learn how to do that. As you can see, my VPN book still works, but if it doesn't work for you, you can always hit Control-C in order to make this stop and search for DNS servers online, okay? So you have tried with several VPN books, you have checked with your internet provider that you don't have actually any block to the VPN usage, then it must have the case that you should change your DNS server in order to make this work, okay? In order to do that, first of all, we are going to search for DNS, and we are going to find some new DNS server for us to use, and then we will change our DNS inside of Kali Linux, and then we will use both DNS and VPN book at the same time for a perfect anonymity. And right now, as I said, VPN book is still working for me, so that I can change my DNS and I can actually use both at the same time. But if it is not working for you, you cannot connect to the internet, you should close this down, or you should hit Control-C. I'm going to open a new tab in my terminal in order to write what I have to write in order to find some DNS servers. First of all, I'm going to see my latest configuration, my current configuration of DNS servers. And we have a couple of ways to do that. Before 2020, in the old versions of Kali Linux, we used to do that with a different way. I'm going to show you both ways so that you can know both ways. And if you come across with a different tutorial online, you won't get confused. But first way will not work right now. You will see why. I'm going to use Nano. So this is kind of a text editor that lets us edit the configuration files or TXT files, okay? So this is something like LivePad or text editor or text in Windows. This is very basic. What we want to nano into, what we want to edit into is a file called dhclient, and it resides in etc dhcp dhclient.conf. So you have to write this exactly the same, /etc/dhcp/dhclient.conf. Many students write this wrong, in a wrong way, and it doesn't work for them. If you hit enter, it will open this configuration file for you. So over here, we will see some configuration regarding to our DNS servers. And if you use your arrows, you can go down a little bit and find this line saying prepend domain name servers. If you delete this first hash sign, okay, with backspace, it will make this available. If you put a hash sign in front of any line, it will be commented out. It won't be active, okay? But if you delete the hash sign, it will be active. So right now, I have two DNS servers over here saying 8888 and 8884. So I'm going to delete all of this. Most probably you will see something like 127.0.0.1 over here, which is your local host, your local machine. Anyway, you're going to delete it, okay? Just delete it with backspace, and you will write some DNS servers over here, like something like 8.8.8.8. This is the DNS of Google. We're going to see how to find it. Just go to google.com from your host machine or from your Firefox and search for DNS server free. So when you do that, you will have millions of results, okay? You can find some free DNS servers online anywhere. So I'm going to click any simple link over here, and I'm going to browse you through these options. For example, we have something called OpenDNS, and you have the DNS IPs over here. So we have something called Cloudflare, and they have this DNS servers starting with 1111 and 1001. Most hackers tend to use this because they think this is more anonymous. This is actually true in a way. They claim to be anonymous, purely anonymous, and they don't tell anyone about your DNS queries or stuff, but you can use the Google public DNS as well. So I suggest you choose either 1111 or Google DNS servers 8888 and 8844. So Google DNS servers actually worked for me in the past in a consistent way, okay? They actually work. Cloudflare actually works as well. So it's your choice. Just go for 8888 or 1111. So I'm going to open my Kali Linux back, and this is what I want to do, okay? 8888, 8844 with semicolon at the end. So if you hit Control-O and hit Enter, it will save the current state, and if you hit Control-X, you will go out of your nano. So this is now edited and changed. Remember, we have deleted the first hash, so we made it available. So after we do this, what we want to do is to read a file, okay? So we use cat in order to do that. So it will print out the content of a text file or a configuration file to your terminal when you use cat. We're going to see how to use cat. Most of the time, you're going to use cat a lot during this course, so you should know how to use it. If you write cat etc resolve.conf, it will bring what is inside of resolve.conf to your terminal. As you can see, we only see this name server inside of etc resolve.conf. If it had worked in the first place, we would have seen 8888 and 8844 in this etc.resolve.conf. But we didn't see it, right? We don't see it right now. So it means that it didn't change. It wasn't effective that we have changed the dhclient.conf. And it used to work before 2020. But right now, we have to edit this etc.resolve.conf. And we're going to use LivePad in order to do that. As you can see, LivePad is not installed for me. And remember, if you run apt-get install LivePad, it will just install the LivePad for me. Okay, that's how we install tools, that's how we install repositories, remember? And we can use Nano in order to edit this, but I just want to show you different tools, different ways to do this. And I believe my VPN book is actually not working right now, so I'm going to stop this by hitting Control-C. I'm going to run this apt-get install LivePad one more time and see if it works or not. So you can close your VPN book as well with Control-C. We're going to rerun it anyway, but we should be able to connect to the internet right now in order to make this work, in order to download this LivePad tool. So this is much more simpler than Nano, so maybe you will be more comfortable doing that. Let me ping google.com. I believe I don't even have any internet connection right now. If you find yourself in some situation like this, what you have to do is just Control-C out of everything, okay? Have a clear terminal, because we're going to reset the network manager so that we can get our access to the internet one more time. In order to do that, what you want to execute is service network-manager restart. So this will restart your network manager. This will reset your internet connection. I believe VPN usage kind of distorted our connection, so that when I run this one more time, if I run ping.google.com, as you can see, I got my connection back. I'm doing all of this for practice so that you get used to use all of these features to use Kali Linux in a better way. So when I run apt-get install leafpad right now, it will download it for me, and I will have leafpad in my own Kali Linux. As you can see right now, it's downloading and it's installing inside of my Kali Linux. And again, I could have easily used nano, but I choose to do this for practice and for better reasons. For example, if I run leafpad right now, I can just create a text over here inside of my leafpad, and I can just save this file as well. For example, let me save this file. Let me say save or save as, and I'm going to choose any folder over here. Let me go for documents, for example. Okay, not downloads. Let's go for documents this time. And inside of our documents, I only have test and test2 folders that we have created earlier. I'm going to name this text file.txt for text. Okay, I'm going to save this file. Now I have a file called text file.txt inside of my documents. So for example, if I want to go to documents right now, let me see, where am I with PVD? Yeah, I'm in root. I'm going to go into documents. Okay, so I'm going to say cd documents. If I say ls, I will see the text file.txt that we have just created. If I want to get the content of this text file, I can run cat text file.txt, and here you go. Now we see the content. So now you know how to use leafpad, how to use nano, how to use cat, and everything. Okay, so we are not only learning DNS change, we are learning some other techniques as well. So I'm going to use leafpad this time to open etcresolve.conf rather than nano, and it will be much more user-friendly for me because I can just reach the name server from here, right? I can just change this in a way that I want, and I can save it. For example, I can write what I have written in the dhclient.conf over here, like 8888 and 8844. And in fact, I shouldn't write this in this way, but I'm going to write it anyway so that we get further practice later on. 8888, 8844. You will see what I mean in a minute. The thing is, when we change etcresolve.conf, it will actually change. But when you close the Kali Linux down and when you open it one more time, this resolve.conf will get reset. Okay, so every time you open Kali Linux, you may have to change your DNS, of course, if you want to change your DNS. But there are some ways to make this permanent. Okay, you can say Kali Linux, okay, I'm pretty certain that I want to use this DNS server from now on. Don't change it whenever I want to shut it down and open it up. So in order to use that, in order to do that, we're going to use this command, chattr. So it stands for change attribute. It can change the attribute of change the preference or change the property of a file. Okay. So first of all, we want to make sure that our result.conf is editable. So I'm going to run this change attribute a etcresolve.conf. Later on, if you say ls attribute, list attribute lsattr etcresolve.conf, it will list the attributes of result.conf like this. But what we want to do actually is to make this etcresolve.conf mutable. So I'm going to show you what mutable and immutable means in a minute. But you have to run this change attribute -i etcresolve.conf. So this makes it mutable. So what does mutable mean? So there is something called immutable and mutable in programming language. So if something is immutable, it cannot be changed. If something is mutable, it can be changed. So if you got any errors using that leafpad and saving the etcresolve.conf, you should make this ch attribute I and then change your name servers. Okay, and then you can make it immutable afterwards, after you change it, so that it will be saved. So say ch attribute, this time plus I, etcresolve.conf. So it will make this immutable and it won't be changed even if you close the Kali Linux down and open it again. By the way, we don't have to use VPN and DNS every time we open Kali Linux in this course. We are only going to use it in one section where we download Tor browser, where we go to dark web, but you have to know the skill, right? So right now, if I cat into this etcresolve.conf, I will see my name server is actually changed. Now Kali Linux will use this DNS server instead of the local one, instead of your default one. Now what we want to do is to run the VPN book right now so that we can see if we get any error or we can make it run smoothly. And we will get one error and we will see how to change it